Hey, good evening, everybody. The non-dual existence in us greets the non-dual existence of you. Well, even that greeting sounds a little bizarre suddenly, because for the greeting to happen, there must be a separate existence. And that's really the beginning, middle, and end of the whole talk. What is this miracle of a separate existence? And what is the existence which is there, irrespective of the idea of separation or the experience of separation? What is going on? You know, since God became uncool, we started talking about existence instead, the great existence or the universe. And this great existence that we turn to and supplicate and ask questions to. What's our relationship with that? Is it separate from us? Is it higher than us? Is there something in us which is not in it, or something in it which is not in us? So it was a little surprising to look at the list of qualities in the non-dual kitchen and to see that we never actually covered existence except within the paradox of existence, non-existence, and the sense of reality. We never treated it actually as a quality in its own right, with this beautiful duality of presence and absence. Now, every quality of true nature, every moment of experience is centered in this meta quality or deeper quality or core quality of existence, or the existential. And the existential, the quality of existence, can only ever be in the here and now. Meaning it's in this moment, in this space. Right here. The moment we start talking about or discussing whether or not we existed yesterday, or looking for our existence, the proof of our existence in the past, we've lost the felt sense of it. The only way that the past can be validated is through the here and now. That's why all healing, all work with trauma, all development of any kind, all learning, it all must be in the here and now. It cannot be in any other place, because there isn't another place. If we remember what we experienced as a child, that experience appears in the now, right here. If we have a connection with what we're going to be doing tomorrow, or the day after that, or 2 lifetimes in the future, this is coming forward through the here and now. So existence is a here and now thing. And because it's a here and now thing, it means that within the now, it's outside of time, it's eternal. Which means eternity is now existing. Not later. Not forever and ever, amen, if we do everything right. It means that we are boundless. Our boundlessness, our limitlessness is right here, not somewhere else. So we, because we exist, are always here now. And the here and now centers us in immediately in the timeless and the eternal and the boundless and the present. There's an immediate centering when we move into the existential quality. I exist. And yet this crazy thing happens with humans where we seem to think we have to do something to deserve it. That we have to fight for this existence. That this existence can be lost. That we have to earn our right to exist or protect our right to exist. That if we don't go to war, we might lose our right to exist. As if it's something which can be completely washed away, like we can be completely washed away. Meaning not just our future erased, de-existed, but our past as well. All that we've lived, all that we've felt, all that we've thought. All of it, everything, this being here now, at the center point of it all, that this can be taken away. And this is where we fall very deeply into this competition between presence and absence. I want to be and I must, and I'm terrified of not being. The struggle to be alive. Or the fight to stay in this place of being, not to venture into the absence area. And at first it looks like all the good stuff is in coming into presence. Being here now, being present, feeling our essence opening up to the world. And all the bad stuff is in the absence, the abandonment, the loss, the death. Presence is like being born, your birthday, and absence is the death day. The dark side of the moon. But then we go to a little bit beneath that, and what we can find is that actually most of our fears are connected with being present, being visible, being attacked, having an experience of humiliation. You can't be humiliated unless you're first there, suffering. And a lot of our drive is towards absence, towards release, towards freedom from this, towards not having to be so entangled, towards a place where we are just able to be as thin as air and not even to care, to be absent. So we have two very distinct competing movements going on. And this can send us in spins through lifetimes in crazy kind of ways, because part of it is completely unconscious, because we don't know what this presence is, what we are. We never took a time to notice what it is that we're so busy trying to protect, to defend, to keep. Before you were born, you were absent. And what was there in this absence was a field of pure potentiality. Not just for your parents who didn't know what was coming, but also for you as a soul, if you were awake. Pure potentiality. What have you got for me this time? What kind of body am I going to have? What kind of situation? What kind of parents? What kind of skin color? What gender? What orientation? What species? Which planet? Pure potentiality in the absence. And it's not like something popped out of nothing. You came from a source of pure potentiality, picking up attributes along the way, picking up talents and features and particular resonances of qualities, particular flavors, particular areas of resilience, particular areas of sensitivity. Different vibrations of love, of belonging, of care, of passion, of magic. It all came from somewhere. But you were absent. So this field of pure potentiality in which you were absent is an existential field where almost anything is possible. Where everything is allowed to move into form, to move into life, to express, to develop. And in the same way, when we die, it's not that we kind of cease to exist, although it's worth contemplating that sometimes, how that would be to cease to exist, to look at that, to feel into that. But when we die, partly what's happening, what's removing is what's falling away. What's going back to source is not just you, but all of these attributes that we picked up on the way in. All of these learnings, all of these qualities, all of these talents. They're becoming more and more and more and more and more real as we shed, as what is present, as the combination of us dismantles and becomes absent. And it looks like we're becoming absent. But is that what's happening? Or are we moving deeper and deeper into the quality of existence? In the here and now, into the boundless, into the eternal aspect, the existential aspect where all the qualities exist, where reality itself shows up as an experience. It's very interesting to look into this. For example, if you take somebody who's very close to you and you blend in with their presence, the feeling of their presence, the felt sense of their presence, somebody that you like. Also, it's probably easier somebody that you like. Just because of what I'm about to say next. So you make a feeling connection with them, and you can use the sight to connect to the feeling, or you can use the sound of their voice, or the scent of them, or the mannerisms of them, the way that you experience them, the atmosphere. But all of that, there is something even more potent, which is there in the air between everything, between all of the impressions, between all of the sensations, and that's the presence of them. Like a miracle. The presence of the beloved, the presence of our friend, presence of our mother or of our father. Now, partly if they've already passed on, passed over, we might have been taught to believe that if their physical body died, they no longer exist. This presence ceased to exist. But so often we can get a feeling of that presence when we come into the here and now, when we come into the existential center of ourselves and relax there. Not just the presence of the dead come forward, but also the presence of the living, the presence of the past, the presence of the future. This presence comes forward. And if we were to imagine the absolute absence of them, the absence of the beloved, just make a feeling connection with that. Make a feeling connection with the absence of your friend or the absence of your family member, the absence of that one. What's happening then? What's happening when we make a feeling connection with the space where they are no longer present, the absence of? You contemplate a flower, and you contemplate the presence of a flower, her particular qualities, her particular perfume, her texture. And then you contemplate the absence of her, that she's just not there anymore. There never was such a thing. What's happening then? So it's very worthwhile to explore this. We can also do it with ourselves. If we get a feeling connection somewhere deep in the heart with our own presence, just allowing for a moment the presence of our own soul here now, that we are here now from the depth of the heart. Just noticing our own presence. The aliveness of our own presence. Relaxing into that, and then checking out the possibility of what would be if there was absence here. What would absence feel like? The absence of ourselves. What's happening? In these kind of dualities, the duality of presence and absence, what we begin to see is the very amazing movement of life in the here and now. How what is absent in one dimension appears in a new form, maybe less limited, or more potent, or more pure, in another dimension. And what disappears from that other dimension might appear in a new form physically, more in this dimension. That there is this perpetual dance between presence and absence, which allows any experience at all to exist. That when we move into presence, there is this incredible potency, something being felt, something being almost physically felt, physically felt. When we move into absence, there's a release even of the notion of presence. And then something has become free. It's almost like presence is released to be where it is, whatever it is, or we are that, we become that. Something flips around, and now we are simply the one that's experiencing everything but ourselves. Meaning we are at the center of consciousness itself. We're able to experience everything except the one which is experiencing. The whole universe is made of everything except us in that moment. But of course, it's a dance. And the most amazing thing is that when we can expand like that and allow the whole universe to be made of everything except us, there is another flippening around and we become present as everything. This is really how perception is moving between the nothing and the everything and the nothing and the everything. And at a certain moment, there is this simple flower, which is you, which is exquisite, tingling, blissful vibration of light, blipping in and out, in and out, in and out, which is everything, nothing, everything, nothing, everything, nothing. Connected to everything, and yet perfectly itself differentiated in this moment here now as an experience of life. This is partly why the quality of existence and the existential dimension, the movement into the here and now, is such an incredible healing factor. Because when we move beyond the duality as absolute between I must be present or there is only absence, is there a God, is there not a God, is there a universe, is there not a universe? When we move beyond that struggle, that fight to proclaim what we anyway are, then we move beyond fear. We move beyond the fear of death, the fear of disappearance, the fear of loss, the fear of non-existence. Because from that place of the existential aliveness, pure consciousness in the here and now, it is so evident that absence is what facilitates presence, and presence is what facilitates absence. This is existence in motion. This is us in motion. And it's all an experience playing out from the center of the whole, which at this moment is centered in you. Centered in the consciousness which you are. Even as you're sitting within a unique form, having a unique lifetime. Experiencing things uniquely from your point of view. There is a Zen koan, which is often cited in spiritual circles about the tree in the forest. If a tree falls in a forest and nobody is there to witness it, is it really falling? So if you were a tree, I'm just going to tell you my take on this. If you were a tree and you were in a forest and you fell down and nobody saw you, wouldn't you still fall down? And that's the whole flip around, you see, because the tree is a center of experience. Just as you are a center of experience. And if you fall down, you experience that, but you don't experience it necessarily from the outside as a lumberjack. There is nowhere without consciousness, nowhere without life. But this consciousness is literally allowed to be and to variate and to expand and to contract and to create because it's existing within a space of the absence of itself. It's like a light in the darkness that goes flicker, 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 flicker. Before we even show a movie on the blank screen, there is just this light on the screen. Don't believe that that light is eternal and in itself consistent, and that's the end of reality. No, this light is flickering. It's a vibration of photons. Dagger, 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 dagger. Present, absent, present, absent, present, absent, present, absent, flicker, flicker, flicker. That's why they called it the flicks. I'm not that old, but the generation before. And this is how reality comes forward, whether it's through our thoughts or our imaginations or our feelings or our physical sensations. It's in a series of particles of informations. Flicker, 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 flicker. And this flicker, 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 the very fabric of experience that we call reality, is facilitated by the gaps in between. Because nothing can flicker if there's not a space to flicker. Light cannot be without the darkness which allows it to be. The difference between a bright light or a soft light, a grey light or a pink light, a nuanced light. All of this beauty is allowed through the absence which is interplaying with it. And we dread absence, and we dread absence in such a way that it blocks at the awakening of consciousness, which is an existential party when consciousness is free to awaken. And we so much dread absence that we fail to understand that consciousness is awakening because of the leap into the absence of it. When we release the idea of, oh, I want to be conscious, I want to be conscious of conscious, I want to feel consciousness, consciousness is holy, consciousness is spiritual, and we say, leave it alone. I want to be for real. Enough of this spiritual stuff. Let's be for real in the here and now. Let's see what's really here. Let's look into the sky, the dark, dark sky. Is there anybody out there? Let's look into the actual universe at 4 a.m. when everybody's absent. And it's just us and the night. Looking into the absence. For real now. Daring to look into the infinity and with the possibility that there is no God, that there is no presence, that there's nobody there in the air taking care of us as a separate existence, as a separate agenda. Daring to perceive that. Partly what happens then, when we dare this to be aware like this, is that that singular center point of all consciousness, from which consciousness comes itself, the absence which is at the center of perception itself, that infinite field, awakens because it meets itself on the outside and because it's allowed to be. Without agenda, without expectation, without forcing, without fairy tale. Because you are allowed to be as the perceiver, then can come a whole party of the freedom of consciousness, which is literally free to move according to the qualities of true nature, according to the genius, according to the spontaneity of care or not care, or according to its own principle of where it needs to go, like everything else in nature moves according to where it needs to go or how it needs to move, or just for the fun of it. When we can move like this, we enter a place where there is no fear anymore, because so much of our fear and so much of our anxiety is based on the belief that we could lose ourselves. And this belief that we could lose ourselves is based on the belief that we have a separate existence. That somehow our existence is separate from the existence of the universe, is separate from the existence of the forest, is separate from the existence of nature or from the air that we breathe. It's the most lonely belief ever, the most isolated belief ever, that we have a separate existence. And when we separately die, therefore, we are out of existence. We've been well trained like this. But it's easy to come out of this kind of software of suffering just by daring to be aware, daring to feel into this field of presence and absence, and beginning to experience the validity, the existential validation that absence needs presence and presence needs absence, just as form needs space and space needs form and life needs time and time needs life. Just as silence, as noise and music needs silence. How all of this is not separate from us. It's something that can be trusted as us. How do we know ourselves? This self that we're afraid to lose. This existence that we think can end. We know it partly, we think, because it's familiar, it feels safe. And yet, when we really let go of ourselves, and we don't see ourselves anymore, and we relax, and we're on a beach, and there is sky, and there is we see everybody other than ourselves. And we experience all kinds of wonders, seagulls and nature and waves coming and going, and everything except ourselves. How safe can we feel? There's such a safety when we are absent. There's such a familiarity when we let ourselves dare to not exist, because then the non-dual aspect, the deeper aspect, the core aspect of our existence begins to come forward, and there is a natural centering, not in ourselves as separate, but in this particular center point, which is you, which is a doorway to the infinite potential of the whole, the existential dimension of the whole. Of course, absence is coded with not being aware, not being conscious. We learned that. Checking out. But how beautiful it is if somebody we love checks out, that we can find them there. Because we're not afraid of the absence. We're not afraid of any corner of experience or any place. We're not afraid of the silence. We're not afraid of the space anymore. Okay, we take a 5-minute break and then we come back to have an existential meditation.
So, welcome back, everybody. It's so nice to see you again. So, if you could find a relaxed position to get ready for the guided meditation, and when we found a relaxed position, I'd just like you to connect with the presence of your physical body. How do you experience your body here and now? And maybe it's worthwhile just for some time to connect to where your body is supported by the chair or the couch, the mattress you're lying on. And maybe it's possible to relax your body even a little bit more into this support, to allow yourself to sink a little bit more deeply into this support. And then I like you to listen to the silence. Maybe the silence around you or the silence within you. We just listen to the silence. And at the same time, we follow our breathing in and out. We are listening to the silence and following our breathing in and out. And then I like you to connect with a tree you know very well, a familiar tree. You can visualize it, or you can make a feeling connection. We are connecting with a well-known tree. Can you experience the presence of that tree? And we're taking just some time to contemplate the presence of this tree, to experience the presence of this tree. And maybe it's possible to even experience the existence of this tree beyond its presence. Maybe it's possible to experience the existence of this tree beyond its presence. And now I like you to imagine that this tree has been cut down. There is an empty space where this tree has been. And I like you to connect with the absence of the tree, with this empty space. And can you sense the existence of this tree or the existence beyond its absence? And then I like you to let go and to just connect with the physical body again and the support of the physical body. And we just follow our breathing in and out. And then I like you to go back in your memory to a moment that a good friend was visiting you in your house. And can you sense the presence of this friend? The presence of this friend in your house? And I would like to take some time just to contemplate, to experience the presence of this friend. And then I like you to move to the moment after this friend left your house again. Your friend has left your house. And can you make a feeling connection with the sense of absence of your friend? Friend is no longer there. Can you feel the existence of the friend beyond the absence? And then I'd like you to let go of this and just connect with the physical body again and where the physical body is supported. And at the same time, follow your breathing in and out. And then I'd like you to regress back to a moment in your life that you felt very present, a moment in your life that you felt very present. And can you make a feeling connection with your own presence at that moment? And can you connect with the sense of existence behind this moment of presence? The sense of your own existence. Maybe just the sense of existence behind it. And then I would like you to let go of this and regress back to a moment in your life that you felt that you were absent. You were not really there. You were absent. And maybe it's possible to make a feeling connection or to experience the atmosphere of your own absence. And is it possible to sense the existence behind that? Connect with your existence behind that. And experience the existence behind it. I'd like you also to experience the existence of the tree at the same time. Is it possible to experience the existence behind your presence and absence together with the existence of the tree? And to experience both at the same time. Maybe it's possible also to connect with the existence of your friend, a sense of existence of your friend, and feel your own existence, the existence of the tree, and the existence of the friend, to experience them at the same time. Maybe from the experience of experiencing the existence of yourself, the tree, and your friend, it's possible to experience the existence of the universe at the same time. Okay, slowly coming back to the here and now. We say goodbye to our friends on the live stream and hope that you are here and we can experience you here again next week. And have a wonderful week. And we will take 5 minutes, and after 5 minutes, there will be some time for questions and sharing.